The 1972 Tasman Cup Motor Racing Series began with the first of the 4 races in New Zealand, the New Zealand Grand Prix. This was run at Pukekohe on the 8th of January.
They're going to do it. There he goes. Graham McRae will make it.
Well,
I believe he made it, Bill.
McRae got the jump.
I believe he did.
Now, he'll be hard to pass. If that car of his holds together, he keeps it on the track. He's first through there. No problems going through there. Gardner would be in second place at the moment.
Yes, definitely. Graham McRae got the jump, accelerated past the start line, and he is first up the back straight, and he's not wasting any time.
We'll wait till they come down the main straight to see if positions have changed, but we can see that Matic is right in behind Max Stewart there. Halewood's in third place at the moment.
Yes.
So McRae goes through first, followed by Gardner, then Halewood, then Stewart. Matic is coming up the outside of Stewart.
Boy, they're tremendously closely grouped here. There's a heck of a potential accident here if anybody makes a mistake. And this is where the regard of individual drivers, the respect for individual drivers must pay off. McRae is absolutely killing them. He's got at least 5 car lengths there on Frank Gardner already. Look at the way he's gone through that approach to the back straight. Absolutely phenomenal. He must be using 9,000 RPM down that back straight to get that kind of a lead so quickly. I think all New Zealand must be cheering this fellow on today.
It's early days yet. They've got 58 laps to go of the Grand Prix circuit here at Pukekohe. So McRae is followed by Gardner. We'll give them to you as they come down the short front straight here.
It looks as if Frank Gardner has been picking up a little bit of time under brakes there, Bill. He's a lot closer to McRae at the end of the hairpin, but again, here he is. There's
Here
Graham.
we go. Right, there's McRae, number 22. Frank Gardner, number 1, followed by Halewood, number 2. 6 is Max Stewart, followed by Frank Matic, followed by Kevin Bartlett. Then comes John McCormick. And the rest in line astern as they go past us now. John McCormick has done extremely well to get up into that position. McCormick started, in fact, well back on the grid. Well, at 5 back on the grid, and he's come up, it seems he's gained a few places. That's Baron Robertson, seems to have gone off back there. Baron Robertson of New Zealand.
Frank Gardner has just gone by in the lead, followed by Mike Halewood in the 30s, and the Alphan of...
Well, we've lost McRae. Gardner leads at the moment. McRae's somewhere on the circuit. We cannot see him.
Well, Frank seems to be in no trouble whatsoever. There he is going through the hairpin effortlessly. Almost looks as if he's got his hand up with that carburetor induction system there, but I can assure you he'd have both hands on the wheel. Going through the tight left-hander out of the hairpin and looking good. He was always the potential threat to Graham McRae, but now here we are without our leader. Frank gone by, must have at least 15 car lengths on the 30s of Mike Halewood. There we are, Max Stewart is third, followed by Frank Matic in the STP car.
Graham McRae, what a disappointment.
It doesn't appear to have any damage on the car. I can't see any marks from this distance. Too many people around it to see through the camera.
There's about 50 minutes of elapsed time of the race so far.
There's a driver giving Frank the right of way. You saw his hand go out the window. He allowed him on the quick line through that left-hander, and this type of courtesy is really appreciated.
Here we are, Gardner coming down the home straight. And just see how far Halewood is behind him. Halewood coming over the top now. It appears that he may have picked up a second or two. It's a bit academic, I think, really. Coming down now.
He's in a threatening position.
12 seconds behind.
Yes, he's definitely there, and Frank Gardner wouldn't be relaxing himself too much at this stage.
Strangely enough, McRae's still in the race. He's just gone down the home straight past the pits. He's still in the race, but in fact, while you give them a bit more information, Alan, I'll just count how many laps we make him behind.
Fine. There's a shot of some of the tremendous crowd that's here today, and I wouldn't like to be the parking man, I can assure you.
We make him about 8 laps behind at this stage, so the cars, the gear problems, not at all happy, but as you say, you pick up a point here, pick up a point there, they all might count in the finish of the Tasman Series. Well, right in the dying stage of the Grand Prix, we have the only major incident, and it's right on the very far side. In fact, it's 3/4 of the way down the main straight. You'll probably see the driver there with mud all over him. It's a ditch over the other side of that fence there, so it looks like he could have been possibly trapped under the car for a while, and he's crawled out from underneath. So there's one car there, right in the middle there, and the other car back towards the left-hand ambulance. This looks like it could be something that wonder what might be possible if Bill Lightfoot, if he's listening, if he could might be able to get across there physically and see what's happened, get those car numbers for us, and we'll be able to tell you a little bit more as the situation develops. But a nasty looking incident late in the Grand Prix, and the other drivers still under white flag regulations. We have it at the moment that Frank Gardner, when he comes down past us again, should have about 1 lap to go.
And I'll tell you, the number 2 car, Mike Halewood, just went by Bill sounding very sick. I hope he can make another few laps without losing a position. This may be interesting to see. Gardner doesn't appear to be in any trouble, but Mike Halewood was definitely went by with a stuttering engine.
Well, we have him coming down. Has he got the checkered flag out? He has indeed. There's the checkered flag. The checkered flag is out, and Frank Gardner has won the Grand Prix amidst some confusion due to that accident. Frank Gardner went through to take it. Here's Halewood over the top now, coming over the top to take the checkered flag. He will be in second place. There he is, coming over the top. Mike Halewood, car number 2, but Frank Gardner going down the back, the victor of the 1972 New Zealand Grand Prix.
The official placings in the first round were Frank Gardner, Australia first, Mike Halewood of Great Britain second, and David Hobbs of Great Britain third. Kevin Bartlett and Max Stewart of Australia and Teddy Pillette of Belgium filled the minor placings to also earn points. Round 2 was the International at Levin on the 15th of January.
The starter is on his position. Any moment now, they'll get the New Zealand flag for the start, and they're away. Graham McRae it is from the pole position, who's taken the lead, holding it from Frank Matic. McRae belting it down now into the hairpin. Field sorting itself out behind them as they come through the hairpin, getting themselves into order, settling down. McRae making the most of his position at the front. This is the time when over-eagerness can cause accidents. There's our shot coming down the main straight, and McRae's belting it through. Frank, Matic, Gardner, Halewood, to the left, Bartlett, Tom. Oh, there's a crash. There's a crash below us here. There's a crash below us here on the main control vehicle, and it's Robbie Franicevic and Kenny Smith. It's Kenny Smith's Lotus is a fire below us here. Both of the drivers are out of their cars, and the safety crews are coming over. Robbie Franicevic leaping out of the McLaren as quickly as possible. I didn't see how that one happened, but well, that just shows you how quickly it can happen. These two having a bit of a dice at the tail of the field, and their bid for the International is over in just a couple of seconds, and the drivers there having a bit of a chat to one another. They're both okay. You can see the two drivers there. Robbie Franicevic, he's the taller of the two. Little Kenny Smith alongside of him. That's a pity, a great pity at this time of any race. After all the time and preparation that's gone into it, the field roars by on the third lap, and what a disappointment. And there's another one. McRae is off. McRae went off. He's back on again. Well, the thrills are coming to a penny here at the moment. McRae slipped into third place, now behind Matic and Gardner as they go through the hairpin. McRae's back into third. He just lost it momentarily. And my goodness gracious me, what a start this has been, Don.
Yes, McCormick actually got it into trouble down here. Cooper, I should say. 40 off.
And number 40 is off. We'll just check and see who that is.
McCormick.
On the start finish line down there. As the leaders go past us again. And there goes McRae.
48.5 the last lap to Matic. Nothing between those two.
McRae back in the lead. He took him on Hokio Bend. Matic tried to slip through on the inside of the hairpin. Didn't quite make it. McRae, Matic, Gardner. 1, 2, 3.
McRae, 47.2.
Gardner it is.
47.2.
Gardner who's off over the back. As we see the leaders go past him. Frank Gardner is out. He lost a wheel over the back there. But he's okay. I can see him walking around. Well, that'll be a disappointment for Frank. Really well, he wanted this one. He won last week and he wanted to keep up that winning streak, but that's the way it goes. Well, they're back to race and it's just about through to its conclusion. There goes Evan Noyes. And Evan Noyes, car number 7, he's well done. He must be holding about 8th place, I reckon. One of the last cars on, still remaining on the track. About 8 or 9 cars left in the race at the moment. Just going past us here, David Oxton. David Oxton did a very good drive. There goes Graham McRae. McRae booming it along, going round the back.
McRae still lapping at about 45.3.
McRae past us, our commentary position.
Yep.
About a lap to go. McRae.
Lap to go.
He's Graham McRae at the moment about past Hailwood, by the looks of it.
Graham McRae about to lap Hailwood, and he's the 3rd car, so that gives you some idea. Graham McRae on Hailwood's tail, just having a final little dice there. McRae takes him on the outside. Hailwood lets him go. And we'll be looking for that checkered flag. Should be coming up fairly shortly. No doubt about this drive today from Graham McRae, though, going like a champion. He'll be coming around now, going around to the main curve and coming into the main straight. And here comes Graham McRae. And the checkered flag out. Graham McRae, first in the Levin International, 1972. A beautiful drive just alongside of him. A lap back was Mike Hailwood. Everybody waiting now for the 2nd place getter, who is Frank Matic. We'll just have to wait for him. The flag marshal on the main straight, just waiting to pick him out. Going down the straight now. He should be coming into our view any moment. He's quite a way back, remember. There's the shot down the main straight. We'll pick him up as he comes into the straight. Can't miss the colour of his car. It's a lovely colour. All lolly-coloured like. Matic takes the flag for 2nd place.
32 seconds behind McRae.
The official placings in round 2 were Graham McRae of New Zealand 1st, Frank Matic 2nd, and Mike Hailwood 3rd. Max Stewart, Teddy Pillett and New Zealand's David Oxton filled the minor placings. Progress points after the 2nd round were Hailwood 10, Gardner and McRae 9, Matic 6, Stewart 5, Hobbs 4 and Bartlett and Pillett each 3. The 3rd round of the series was the Lady Wigram Trophy race at Christchurch on January the 22nd.
And they're away. Hobbs away. Well, that's an exceptionally good start by Hobbs. McRae is usually the one that takes the jump from the start flag. They go around the control tower bend. David Hobbs. It's really started to show that he means business today. They slow right down for that hairpin. Number 6, Max Stewart. He has the new engine, which means, of course, that he won't be going all out right at the start.
No, he's right behind Gary Cooper, the designer of these particular cars that he's driving, as a matter of fact, and obviously take it quietly for a little while.
David Hobbs out in front. They're on the 1st lap.
Very latest model McLaren that won, and new design, first one ever built, and getting its prototype testing in the Tasman Series for the forthcoming European season.
Here's McRae. McRae's now moving up, and he's taken the lead. McRae taking the lead, and they haven't gone one lap. They're coming in at the end of the 1st lap. McRae has taken over the lead of the Lady Wigram Trophy race. Number 19, David Oxton, driving a big. Going into the hangar. McRae out in front. Well, he set the fastest lap time of 1:05.9. Hobbs behind him.
Hailwood next.
And Hailwood in 3rd place. Well, here we have David Hobbs and chasing him hard. We've got Hailwood and Stewart and Matic. It looks like it's going to be tremendous pressure in second, third, fourth and fifth placings. There's Hobbs, Hailwood. It's Hobbs who gets away and looks as if Hailwood slowed down a little there. One 152 was Neil Doyle. We saw him earlier and he spun out and was helped back onto the track. He's hopping back into his car. He's obviously had no serious trouble. Just
away now on his 10th lap, Graham McRae, going very nicely indeed, isn't he? Looks beautiful as he sweeps around the back of that circuit. Absolutely immaculate drive. Quite a changed personality over a couple of years.
Wow. There we've got somebody who's spun out there.
Whoops, and another one collided. Evan Noyes, by the looks of it, the first car, it looked a bit like number 7. And another one of the cars ran into him.
Neither car terribly worried about it. Frank Matic and Kevin Bartlett. Well, they were dicing there for third, fourth and fifth placings.
Piece flew off the car, did you notice? I think
yes,
one of the
nose
aerofoils fell off by the looks of it.
The identification is Matic. Well, that was the shot. Now you can see the front of his car. Well, there we can see what's something's come off there. And he's just come in to check to make sure that there's nothing mechanically wrong. But it's quite a shunt.
New nose cone coming out, you see. They could just unbutton the nose cone. The number's already on the car. They unbutton the piece off the front section, bolted on, aerofoils all in place, and away they go.
Well, there we have Kevin Bartlett. He's in fifth place at the moment. Noise just in front of him. Evan Noise just in front of him.
This could make an interesting dice. These two are really at it hammering times with Bartlett and Noise. Noise has been known to make a few mistakes in the earlier meetings. He's driving really wildly. And he's got Bartlett right behind him now, chasing him very hard.
Well, there we have the struggle going for second place. That's Hobbs out in front, in second place there. Right behind him, trying to catch him up is Hailwood. But deceptive there. Looks as if Hailwood was going to make an impression, but he couldn't quite get up close enough.
Really hard. The boys are worried about tyres and stones giving them punctures. This could probably be one of the things that's happened here to David Hobbs. So they changed the wheel over. They've got a centre lock nut only. They just changed the wheel. He's still tightening it up now, and he should be back in the race. Unfortunately, way out of contention, which puts Mike the Bike back up into second spot.
Yes, this will be a change in places now as everybody jumps up. Well, Frank Matic is back in the race. Graham McRae. About half, just under half a lap to go. Even less than that. I think he's going along he's along the
past the braking
back straight. And he'll be out to take the checkered flag to take the Lady Wigram Trophy race. Third in the Tasman Series for 1972. Yes, McRae took the checkered flag and the race is over. So McRae has won the Lady Wigram Trophy.
Graham McRae's win was his second in a row. Hailwood finished second and Bartlett third. Minor points were earned by Evan Noyes and David Oxton, both of New Zealand, and Frank Radisich of Australia. The progress points after the third round were McRae 18, Hailwood 16, Gardner 9, Bartlett 7, Matic 6, Stewart 5 and Hobbs 4. The last race in the New Zealand section of the Tasman Series was the Teretonga International, held at Invercargill on the 30th of January.
All 15 ready to go, and it's a rolling start. Round the loop, and it's Hailwood, Matic, Hobbs and McRae. Tricky control tower bend, and only Oxton's using rain tyres. Local designer George Begg reckons he knows south and weather better than anyone. Minutes later, the rain takes over, and McRae's first to go. Let's take another quick, close look at McRae's abrupt departure. No points today for the defending Tasman champion.
High tyres, you know, on the wet, there's just nothing they can do.
You're going to give it away now.
Well, it'll still go. I don't think it's worth it. It's not safe.
Never a truer word. That's Halewood out of the race. Luckily, he's not hurt, but the car's well and truly bent, and that could put paid to his chances in Australia next week. Mike Halewood's not the sort to go off the deep end, but have you ever tried to pin down a brassed-off racing driver?
What happened out there?
Well, you saw it, didn't you?
No, I wasn't watching too closely. Was it the rain?
Rain and dry tyres.
Everything's happening at once, and we're not quite sure whether these three Aussies are leading or not. But Matic in the middle, number 3, seems to be going pretty well. The tight elbow into the main straight claimed a few victims, like John McCormick and David McConnell. Ken Smith gets round safely as Australian Max Stewart returns from a field trip. And here comes Oxton joining the nature ramble. Back in the pits, we discover where David Hobbs got to. The Englishman's not feeling very sociable, keeps muttering something about Matic. Meanwhile, that particular gentleman reads his pit board the easy way as he bustles in to do something about his traction. Matic gets the service station treatment while the crew race against the clock to replace the slicks with rain tyres. Two laps down and praying for more rain. Just watch Matic go. Teddy Paulette was going pretty well till he took a trip into the Lupins, and it seems more than the allowable 3 marshals are needed to get him out. While the big 4 have been calling it a day, and Paulette and Oxton have had their odd troubles, a little fancied Australian's been playing the tortoise and hare game. Kevin Bartlett swings the McLaren M10B into the final straight and victory. Following Bartlett home came Paulette, then the consistent and patient David Oxton.
Australia's Kevin Bartlett won officially from Paulette, who turned in his best performance to date. David Oxton finished 3rd. Matic, Noyes and McCormick also gained points. The point score after the 4 New Zealand races read McRae 18, Halewood and Bartlett each 16, Gardner, Paulette and Matic each 9 and Oxton 7. The 5th race in the series and the first of the 4 Australian events was the International held at Surfers Paradise in Queensland on February the 6th. Graham McRae again displayed the dominance which won him the 1971 Tasman Cup Series. Frank Gardner finished 2nd and Frank Matic 3rd. The minor placings were filled by Hobbs, Paulette and Halewood. McRae's 3rd win in 5 races placed him on 27 points, with Halewood in 2nd place on 17, followed by Bartlett on 16, Gardner on 15, Matic on 13 and Paulette with 11 points. The scene then shifted to Warrick Farm in Sydney for the 6th round of the series, the Warrick Farm International on the 13th of February.
And the hoot sounding in the background indicates that 1 minute remains. Frank Matic, the pole position, the fastest qualifier. And no doubt we'll see him speed away very quickly from the inside of the grid with Kevin Bartlett on his outside. Matic bringing his car up to the mark. The race over 101 miles, 45 laps of the 2 1/4 mile circuit. And with the cars going round the paddock bend for the first time, we'll introduce Graham Howard. Good afternoon, Graham.
Good afternoon, Alan. Well, we're seeing what I think is going to be a very hard-fought race. The field streaming now down through Homestead and off onto Hume Straight. And there's Bartlett stepping out of Manager's slipstream, and he's taken the inside run, or he's trying to take the inside run as they drop down towards the tightest corner on the circuit, Creek Corner at the bottom of Hume Straight. But it's Matic undoubtedly leading at Creek, Bartlett behind him, and Matic aiming up now towards the S's. In third place, I'd say, would still be Frank Gardner off the second row of the grid. Matic now going through the right hand of the middle of the S's.
Graham, just how important is a good pole position at Warrick Farm?
Well, you can see what Matic is doing with it. He's already jumped to a very useful lead. He had the inside line had he got there first. This is, of course, implicit in a pole position, is that you've got to make good use of it. But he has inside running for the first corner. From there on, he can sort of set the pace.
And we're watching now as the leading runners come over the causeway. So they're just over halfway round the first lap, the first of 45 laps to complete 101 1/4 miles in this Warrick Farm International 100 for 1972. Frank Matic, 1:25.9, the fastest qualifying time, and here he is into the home straight for the first time. A large lead over Kevin Bartlett and Gardner, followed by Muir, Stewart and McRae. And the interesting thing there, watching the cars go around to complete the first bend, that already Graham McRae has come up from well back in the field to be lying about 7th.
Likewise, Harold, who was on the very back of the grid. But the thing that impresses me is Matic's sprinting first lap. He's pulled out a really impressive lead in the space of just on a minute and a half, and I think this is the way that he's trying to pace the race. He's got some very fast people behind him. He wants to make his mark early.
It's a very hot day here at Warrick Farm, and we've had no sign of the rain that seriously hampered the 2 practice sessions yesterday. But in contrast, the weather is the exact opposite. It's very hot, very humid, and I dare say that after 45 laps of this circuit, the drivers are going to be very hot indeed. So the order of cars through the first lap was Matic leading from Bartlett, then follows Gardner. Next up was Muir, followed by Max Stewart, then McRae, and in 7th place was John McCormick in the Elfin Repco. Matic driving the Repco Matic 1A50. And his lead at the end of the second lap is very much the same as it was earlier. But the noticeable thing again there was the improvement by Graham McRae.
Likewise, Alan, further down the line is Mike Hailwood. He's now on about 8th. He must have made a really impressive first lap.
2 of the fastest drivers in the field yesterday weren't able to attain good practice times due to the rain. McRae recorded 1:28.2 and Hailwood 1:38.4. But both of them were recording much faster times this morning in the unofficial practice session before this race began. Matic coming over towards the causeway, and we'll notice here that the distance between Matic as he goes around the causeway and the next man, who is Kevin Bartlett, who was drawn alongside him on the front row of the grid. Now there's Matic over the causeway, and look at the distance from Matic to Bartlett and Gardner in 3rd place. And I dare say the last 7 or 8 cars are being continually lapped now, with the first 4 place getters moving up all the time. But there's nothing to deter Frank Matic, who was so intent yesterday on getting onto the track early in his practice times that it was virtually responsible for his recording the best practice time, in that he got out while the track was reasonably dry and before the rain had come on to affect all the other practice times of the other competitors. And it's this sort of determination that has taken Frank Matic to the lead in this race and has kept him there so well in front of all the other runners. And there's Frank Matic going around towards Hume Straight. After he goes through the Homestead corner, he'll come into Hume Straight and will follow Frank Matich around as the flag marshal takes the flag out onto the track. Up to Creek Corner now, taking very carefully around the corner.
This has been a copybook drive by Matich. His early sprint has taken him away from Gardner, and despite a very strong finish from Gardner, Matich had, I think, the situation well under control.
You mentioned a very strong finish by Gardner. Gardner on lap 42 recorded a time of 1 minute 24, 1:24 flat by Gardner, but he's left his run too late. We'll stay with Matich as he's coming around now Polo Corner, Ledger Corner, and Frank Matich comes down now to take the checkered flag. Frank Matich is the winner.
The official placings were first Matich, second Gardner, third Bartlett. McRae, Halewood and McCormick finished 4th, 5th and 6th. McRae still headed the points list with 30 points, but Matich's win placed him in a position to overhaul the New Zealander. Gardner had 21 points, Bartlett 20, Halewood 19 and Pillett 11. The next race was the 7th round in Melbourne. This was the 37th Australian Grand Prix at Sandown, and it was here that the series was decided. McRae gave no one else a chance, not only winning the race easily, but in the process setting a new outright lap record average speed of over 111 miles an hour. Gardner finished second and Hobbs third. Minor points were earned by Halewood, Warwick Brown and the consistent Teddy Pillett. The points table at this stage read McRae 39 with an unbeatable lead with only one race remaining. Gardner had 27 points, Halewood and Matich each 22, Bartlett 20, Pillett 12 and David Hobbs 11. With the series decided, Frank Gardner announced his retirement from active competition and the 8th and final round was contested without him. The race was the Adelaide International.
Up comes the starter's flag. No way. David Hobbs getting a slight edge there as they left the start line and now go down towards the end of the straight for the first time round. Now Graham McRae in car number 22 looked as though he might have ducked straight into the lead there. We'll pick them up when they get a little bit nearer after they've wound their way around through the S's. But it looked as though Graham McRae, the present holder of the championship round, might have run straight down the side of the wall and ducked into the front and led the way into the first corner. Yes, there he is, Graham McRae in car number 22, shoving him in the lead in the first lap as they come over the oval now, well over 100 miles an hour on their approach to this corner. In second place is Frank Matich in car number 3. In third place, car number 10, David Hobbs. And the first of the local drivers is car number 25, John Walker, driving his Repco Holden. They have one lap behind them, with Graham McRae showing the drivers the way. Graham has already won sufficient events, sufficient rounds of the Tasman Championship to already have taken out the award. But nevertheless, we're still going to see a very great race with the top drivers, not only in Australia, but we have the top international drivers here competing for the first time ever in South Australia, here at the new circuit of the Adelaide International Raceway. Graham McRae in car 22 makes his second run around the oval now. Matich moving up a little bit closer. Only about 15 to 20 yards separate the first two drivers, then about 40 yards to car number 10. In fourth place is Mike Halewood, a motorcycle rider who attained 7 world championships prior to moving over to cars, and then was given a drive in the John Surtees camp. And Mike Halewood has been doing very well in cars. Whether he'll ever get 7 world championships in cars is hard to say, but it's a phenomenal record for a man, particularly as he's only
26 years of age, I believe, so he must have started riding his motorbikes at a pretty early run. Graham McRae coming onto the oval again. And his leader, GMI. This is the Formula 5000 car, a V8 car. Frank Matic in a same power, similar vehicle. Right behind now, only about 6 yards separating the first and second. David Hobbs still holding third from Mike Hailwood, then quite a gap to the fourth man. Car number 12, Warrick Brown, and in McLaren 10B. This is slight edge over the first City State car. And the first car in the pits now, one of our local drivers, 60, the McLaren 10B, who will no doubt be the next car at his sights. As he comes around the wall there, you can see Frankovic's car in front of Matic now. In fact, there's a string of 3 other cars there, but Matic is going to... And there's a blow of smoke there from Graham McRae. That will put McRae out of the event, I would say, at this stage. A great puff of smoke, and he's pulled straight off the track and onto the infield. That will be the... And there's another bingle down there as 2 cars go off the track in a mad melee, rather, and spin off into the infield. And that could put 1 or 2 drivers out in that part of the event too. We'll wait now for Matic to come around. Here he is, still going quite well as he comes onto the oval. No doubt realising now that some pressure is gone with the withdrawal of Graham McRae. There's Matic. And we have Hailwood still in the running. He comes around now. He'll appear right on the spot. There he is. There's Mike Hailwood in car number 2. And he's followed by David Hobbs in car number 10. So we still have the 3 top-line drivers there who are so very close. Frank Matic in car number 3, then Mike Hailwood in car 2, and David Hobbs in car number 10. We'll let him go for a few laps while we've been watching the dice between... Oh, Matic has spun. He's spun on the adverse camber corner. Now he's got a fair bit of lead if he can keep going. He waved a hand then, though. Yes, he's still mobile, I think. He may have stalled his motor then, coming back onto the track. He's getting out of the car. Matic is getting out of the car. Both they go down into the bottom corners. Right, there's Hobbs and Hailwood now. As they come onto a slower car, the blue flag can give it to the car in front. David Hobbs swoops past him, followed by Hailwood, as they come down and make their way onto the oval once again.
Well, I've just been informed, Alan, that there's 2 laps between these 2.
Well, we've been thinking this all along,
yes,
Bob, but we couldn't say too much because we didn't have anything official.
3 laps to go for Hailwood. Well, that would mean then that Hobbs is almost on his last lap.
He should have 1 lap to go.
This could be right.
Yeah, Glenn Dix has moved over towards his flags. There's 1 lap to go.
Yes, 1 lap to go for David Hobbs.
Yes, Glenn Dix is picking up his checkered flag now, and Hailwood has just gone past Hobbs, but Hobbs is still holding the lead here in car number 10 by, as Bob just told you, at least 2 laps. Might be a lap and
yes,
all
just
but
under
10
2
yards
laps
now. There's David Hobbs in car number 10, the leader coming onto the oval for
at the moment the Belgian Paulette is in 3rd place in car number 34.
Oh, no, we know.
And here comes the winner.
There it is. Car 10 gets the checkered flag from Glenn Dix at the end of this, the final round of the Tasman Championship Series.
David Hobbs had his first success of the series in beating fellow Englishman Mike Hailwood. Paulette finished 3rd. The final point score saw McRae of New Zealand as the winner for the 2nd time of the Tasman Cup Series. Mike Hailwood of Great Britain, who earned points in 7 of the 8 races, finished in 2nd place on 28 points, ahead of Frank Gardner, the leading Australian driver, on 27 points. Frank Matic was 4th in the series with 22 points, followed by Kevin Bartlett and David Hobbs, each on 20, and Teddy Paulette of Belgium finished with 16 points in the 1972 Tasman Cup Motor Racing Series.